The Panama Papers have claimed their first political scalp after the Prime Minister of Iceland resigned over accusations he hid millions of dollars in an offshore company. I'm joined by the international political strategist George Ajjan now, who's in Beirut. Good morning, George, and thank you for joining us. Were you surprised by the resignation from the Icelandic Prime Minister, this morning?
I'm not surprised at all. In fact, I'd be surprised if they don't end up in early elections in Iceland.
So he's just, as we've been saying there, he's the first political scalp coming out of this. Do you think we're going to see more? Because he certainly wasn't the only world leader implicated.
Correct. Yeah, I think we have to be careful to extrapolate too much on this. Iceland is somewhat of a special case, simply because what happened to their economy and how the banks took such an overriding role in the country before the financial crisis. So that's not the case, for example, in the UK or in other large countries in which, yes, there are allegations of corruption, there are allegations that people had wrongdoings, but it's not something fundamental to the country. So I think, Iceland being a very small country, having a very particular economic circumstance coming out of the crisis has made this, such a political bomb that's hit the country.
It's also shone the light not only on these individuals, but also on tax havens. Do you think we're going to see greater transparency following the release of these documents?
Well, money is a big business. And so, yes, there will be, just as after the financial crash of 2008, there were various measures taken in different countries. But, this is a big industry and, the most powerful people in the world. So, yes, there will be movements to make things more transparent, make it more difficult for them to hide their assets. But there's very much at stake for them to find new loopholes and new ways to do that. So we're far from seeing the end of the story in terms of the overall trajectory of how the world's wealth is distributed and how those at the very top will protect their interests.
There was a sense, George, that no one was particularly shocked by these claims. What did you feel when you read them?
No, I share that sentiment. As I said, this is no new story that, those that are very powerful and very rich, want to protect their wealth and grow it, no matter what the costs, what the circumstances are for others. The interesting thing about Iceland is the political aspect. You have this pirate party, which there have been other parties in Europe called the Pirate Party. In Sweden, that has had a member of the European Parliament even. In Germany, they had won seats in state elections previously. They had also lost in the most recent round of 3 elections in March in Germany. So there's really no functioning pirate party in Germany right now. They didn't even get 1%. But in Sweden, it's polling at over 30%, and it looks like it may be able to, if they go to elections, be the dominant power in government. So that's something new to watch. That's interesting.
Okay, but let's look at the firm Mossack Fonseca. What do you make of their claims that they've done nothing illegal and they've operated beyond reproach for 40 years?
Again, not surprised that they would say that. This is, a comfort zone of people in a very, elite set of society who thinks that they are exempt from the rules that apply to everyone else. And no, there's nothing that we did wrong. We have a bunch of legal documents to prove that, even though they confound our common sense and they seem, rather ludicrous when we look at what's actually happening. But, I would largely expect that, the very rich will skate from this. There will be, just as in 2008, there will be a few hand slaps and a few hiccups. But largely, we're not going to see this as a major undoing of the way that the ultra-rich are able to hide their wealth and grow it.
Okay, George, thank you. George Ajjan, an international political strategist, joining us from Beirut.